Hello/x/ I hope you are having a nice day. So the whole reason for this thread is because half of this lame board is just something Jew/succubi, so in this thread you can share, reply and interact with your favorite scary stories. Everything is welcomed. Personal stories, famous/unknown tales, green text or normal, if fake try to at least make it sound reasonable. Here's mine. Be me, some years ago. Be hanging out with friend after a disastrous bowling multi-date. We're both bored and disappointed at the mall. He lives somewhat close, I live a little bit more far away. Wanna go to my house? We can leave you at yours later. Pretty good deal. JPG. After a little walk at friend's house. Greeted by his mom, stepdad, bro and sis. They show me around. At Big Brother's room. They joke about if I want to sleep there to meet some old fuck whose name I can't remember. WTF.png. Then my friends start explaining that he was like the previous owner's dad and that he still lives there. Then they all talk about how this dude is known for scaring specifically men while sleeping. Big bro goes on and say, yeah, actually the first night I stayed here I had 8 sleeping paralysis with nightmares. He has like some big job event the next morning, so he actually booked at hotel because of how shitty sleep can be at this room. Friend confirms this and tells me same happened to him but 12 paralysis. Then they said that this entity doesn't scare women in the same way. What do you mean? Rar. They go on how women can actually have a good sleep at the room, but when they're left alone in there they have hallucinations/breakdowns. Big bro says he once invited GF over and she was in his room while everyone was outside. To put you in context, this house isn't very tall, so you could clearly see what happened in the windows. Then he explains how out of nowhere she started to cry her eyeballs out but couldn't move. Sister came quickly to the room to see what happened and GF broke down explaining how she saw something that was scaring her but couldn't describe it. At this point I was intrigued, but we had to leave because it was somewhat late. In the car they told me more interesting stories that my friend family had. Anything ranging from another entity living with his mom to how the mirror keeps falling with no reason to. I suck at green texts and also terrible at English, but here goes. Be me. 10 to 11 years old, in the woods with my dad. Staying in my grandmother's vacation home, not really a home. Just a small train cart that was dropped on some land she owned. Cart was upgraded, fitted with 2 beds, some chairs, a table, small kitchen up front of the cart, toilet outside in an outhouse. The right side of the cart was almost all windows. Lots of 15x15 cm windows making up most of the wall. Facing out onto the rest of grandmother's land, the 2 beds me and my dad slept on were placed in a 90-degree angle. One bed up against the back wall of the cart. The other bed up against the window wall. Be nighttime. Both sleeping, dad on back wall, me on window wall. Have nightmare. The nightmare is just a still shot of the dirt road out front of the cart, like a camera fixed in the air filming the road. In the nightmare, a disembodied woman's voice is whispering. I can't make out what she says. Suddenly her voice becomes normal. Everything in nightmare goes quiet and she says, then I died suddenly like a tsunami. An explosion of water bombards the dirt road as the disembodied woman's voice screams a blood-curdling scream of absolute pure terror. Nightmare wakes me up. Almost fly out of bed, heart pumping. Panicking. Look out into train cart. Only lit up by the moonlight coming through the window wall. See my dad sitting on a small crate in the middle of the cart. Hunched over with his arms resting on his legs, he's staring at the floor, with his jaw hanging loose, and his eyes wide open, as wide as you could possibly open your eyes. His eyes doesn't blink, just staring at the floor. What the fuck is going on? JPEG. I say quietly, Dad. He slowly turns his head to me and looks me straight in the eyes with the most soulless stare I've ever seen. No response. Dad. What's going on? He slowly stands up and starts walking towards me. I start freaking out. Dad. What are you doing? Slowly walking towards me, he puts his arms out with his hands reaching towards me. Dad. What the fuck are you doing? Think my dad is about to kill me by strangulation in the woods, screaming for my life at the top of my lungs. All of a sudden I see out of the corner of my eye my dad flying out of his bed next to me. All the screaming woke him up. Just as my dad wakes up, the dad in front of me becomes like mist or smoke, just vanishes for a second. I can see the residue of the mist in the room. My dad himself panicking, asking what's wrong. Me freaking out, thinking I was just about to die, trying frantically to tell him what happened. He calms me down, and a while later we go back to sleep. The cart was removed a few years later and the land sold. I don't know if it was an actual ghost or what, but I was the most scared I've ever been in my life. Here's mine. It's pretty spooky. Me and my friends are all in this weird drug rehab cult for kids and young adults in NC called Insight. Everyone just calls it the group. We are always up all night drinking energy drinks and doing dumb shit. Some of us become obsessed with fear missions, going to haunted places and sometimes setting up new meme bears by hiding out and scaring them with elaborate plans and stories. One of the real fear missions where nobody hides is called Satan's Bridge. I've been tons of times and not that scary, especially in large groups, but something to do. Satan's Bridge is in NC but LEDs into VA. Lots of stories of suicides and satanic sacrifice. Bridge covered in graffiti. We get there and park same as usual. Huge group this time, including lots of kids who never went on fear missions. We walk down the bridge. White rape van pulls up on us. It's about 1 a.m. on a weeknight and this is in the sticks. Man in backseat swings the door open and says, if you really want to see the devil, get in the van with us. We all run full speed back to car. Was pretty damn creepy but nothing paranormal, I guess. We had found dead animals and bones and candles under the bridge before. Be me. About 7 or so on a picnic with my family. Got to take my bicycle with me. Big field with hills and trees scattered about, only us there. Ride my bike and go down steep hills. As I'm going back up, see something weird ass moving cloud thing. Few meters away from me it was colored, a mix of black and red, starts moving towards me. Oh fuck. Exe take my bike as fast as I can to get back to the picnic spot. Dark cloud is chasing me fairly fast too. After a bit I turn around and realize the thing was gone. Nowhere in sight. Keep going to my family and don't look back. Tell dad that's nice and on. For some reason don't think much about it and try to go back to biking. Bike isn't moving. Look at tires. Thing was completely destroyed, shredded to bits. We head home after I tell dad about broken bike. My mom beat my ass for the bicycle. Fuck you, dark cloud demon. Happened a few days ago. For some context, I live in an attic room in an old antebellum house. Be me. Chillin' in my room like always, vibin'. JPG hear something tapping in my ceiling. Fucking rats, fuck these little shits. Start banging on the ceiling. Ceiling is sloped so I can easily reach the bottom part. Stop banging. Super loud knock comes from the exact spot I was just hitting. WTF. Dead silence for a few seconds. I'm standing there just staring at that spot. Get that sense that I'm not alone. Suddenly the knocking continues, even louder than before, and it's coming from everywhere, like walls, floor, and ceiling simultaneously. Ipa said something oaf. Teehee. I'm pissed too. Fucking demons ain't got shit on me. Ghost puncher mod. JPG bang on the ceiling again. Come out you little fucker. I know you a bitch. Recite all the names of God I can think of. Knocking turns back into light tapping at just one place. Keep saying I'm gonna fuck whatever it is up. Tapping stops. I 1. Rar furiously beat my meat afterwards. Porn at full volume. Make sure to grunt and be extra loud. Myself no encounters since. Used to work in this little retirement community, just helping around with landscaping, laundry, medicine, and deliveries. We'd also do wellness checks on residents with a history of mental health issues or physical health issues. Not too long ago though, in March, it kinda hit us that one of the residents who'd been there the longest, this old guy in his 60s who was still rather spry and even mowed his own lawn, hadn't been seen at any of the little events we'd host for the old folks. Now we knew he was reclusive. We thought he must have been just sticking to himself or doing one of his hobbies. We decided it was time to conduct a wellness check because he hadn't been seen by anyone in months. I was one of the people who went to his house. There were just 2 of us, and we knocked. No answer. I started getting that pit in my stomach, and so we knocked harder. I tried peeking through the windows, and the lights were off. I didn't want to be a creep and peep into the shower or his bedroom, so we decided to ring up one of the security guards to get a key to his home. We got in, and everything was caked in dust. Everything. Like that kind of dust buildup where you run your hand over a countertop and it creates a thick layer on your palm. We split up to look through each room, but the guy I was with found him first. The fucked up thing? He must have died standing up or something, and stayed that way for days, weeks, months, however long it had been. We found him in the basement, his almost skeletal corpse just leaning up against the wall, the plaster stained this like vomit putrid shit yellow. It was too late to do an autopsy and determine a cause of death, but he wasn't in hospice care or anything. Just kinda freaks me out. Actually, I just remembered an old memory of mine at the same house. I actually have a fair bit of paranormal stories revolving around this cursed place. My childhood room was in the oldest part of the home. It was a pretty huge room. It was pretty common for my siblings to be sharing it sometimes. There was a big walk-in closet in there too, which I was always afraid of at night. When I was a kid, I had this recurring nightmare that went something like this: be me. Tucked in bed, Imarialisnoser.7z, look up, closet door open. Pitch black in there, oh fuck, feel something grab my leg and start dragging me into the closet, eyes closed. I don't wanna see it, open eyes, I'm on the floor. Bunch of monsters looking down on me in a circle, everything is illuminated in this dim bluish light that was somehow both warm and very cold. They start dragging me again, wind up in parents' closet, drag me further into the master bathroom, throw me in the mirror. I'd wake up at this point and start freaking out. Usually, every time I'd have this dream, something weird would happen to someone in the house too. Still can't figure it out. Be me depressed, go to therapy. Therapist tells me about something strange. The last week she was attending a dying friend of hers. After the friend was dead, she noticed something. The clock in her office had stopped. Nothing too surprising, but apparently her friend passed away before she got home. The friend died at around 6:30. It was around 6:30 when the clock stopped. WTF.jpg, laugh it off. I am really a skeptic, but this one seems a pretty strange coincidence. The therapist said that her friend said it was her friend's way of telling she was grateful. Still gonna believe it's just a coincidence. Be me tenyo. Dad was finally at home after a long service in Mill. For context, this is a Latin American shithole, so there is somewhat witchcraft. It who Dad messed with, but suddenly we start suffering from various disgraces, from general illness to damages. First we all get a super nasty fever, then the fridge fucking dies, the microwave follows, and finally the car gets hit too. I arrived exhausted from school. Went to bed. This was not my room, it was my grandmother's aunt, who deceased not too long ago. I was playing with a pillow and I feel something weird inside it, like some sand or those silica balls. Get my hand in there, it was a fucking bag with dirt. Panic attack. Wave. Mother comes, finds 2 more, then the dog smells the bag and goes to the yard, finds another fucking bag with dirt and animal bones, but it has a bonus: my dad's photo. Apparently all this thing were caused by this. We also get informed that was graveyard dirt. Throw the shit into a river to uncast the witchcraft. I don't know how that works. Things slowly recover. We never suffered from something as bad as that again, so to this day I keep wondering, how does that work? I've got one for you. Was pretty recently I had this dream. Scared the hell out of me. I'm this huge gray stone room standing on a staircase by one of the walls. Leads to nowhere as wall is flush with no exit. The wall on my right is like a waterfall. Lots of natural light and blurry greenery. On the left is a smaller structure. Just a really big stone block that sits about a foot off from the wall. For some reason I walk down the stairs and squeeze myself between the at 9 NEAMF, shuffle along. About halfway through there's an old heavy steel door with slats. It's dark but I can still see. Open the door and walk in. I walk down, and on the left I come across a long staircase down. Suddenly screeching and banging erupts at the door. Never been more scared in my life. As I bolt down the steps, as I'm running, this overwhelming humming starts taking over my brain and I can hear the screaming following me. Getting closer, I hit the bottom of the stairs and come to this huge room. The buzzing is now like a migraine and I can hardly think. Floating in the room on either side are these huge orbs. Glowing and making the buzzing sound, I spin around and the thing hits the bottom of the stairs and lunges at me. All I see is this rotting corpse of a woman with a twisted face. Her skin is disgusting and gray, but her eyes were huge and glowing cyan. Blot up, freaking out. Wake girlfriend up. She rolls over and hugs me. Asks what's wrong. Tell her I had a weird nightmare. Glance over my shoulder and at the edge of the bed. Eyes to eyes is the face in this horrible twisted scream posture. Wake up in my bed alone, screaming. Swingly both my arms and I bolted straight up. I immediately stood up and ran out of my room and took a shower. It was about 9 a.m. so it was bright out, but I felt sick and scared for a while. I still vividly remember the face, the humming, and the scream. Only time I've ever experienced an Inception kinda thing or woke up screaming.
Looking for something to meet your photonic need? Redlight has laser diodes, remote-controlled rooms with lasers mounted on them, USB chargeable laser pens, rechargeable lithium-ion batteries, high-powered lasers that can ignite matches, cat toys. Hell, if you got enough money, they'd probably sell you a Jewish space laser. Welcome to Radlight. Point with precision, present with confidence. Visit us at radlight.dev. Tell them the Atomic Shaman Sweat Lodge sent you.
Mosey on down to the Atomic Shaman Trading Post. We have t-shirts, decals, refrigerator magnets and other swag for sale. What better way to show your support for the show? Our merch can only be found on t.pub/link/Atomic Shaman Trading Post. Like, share and subscribe to the channel, and be sure to ring the notification bell. You can follow us on Twitter at Motel and RV Park. Catch the live streams on Rumble. Listen to text-to-speech stories on Atomic Shaman TTS on YouTube.